Hey, today is day one of me learning, well, not learning, creating my potential dream game. My goal is to have a Titanfall like game at the end of the 30 days. So I've got a bit of a list that I'll show you, but before I get into that list, I want to show you that I've made a couple of different games, different games that I have learned how to use Godot on. So I'm going to take what I've learned from those previous games into my game dev for this new game that I'm making. So these other games aren't really games that I myself would personally play, so I never really finished them. So this time, I am going to make a game that I would genuinely play, and I'm going to hopefully have something working by the end of 30 days. I'm not expecting it to be the most perfect, amazing, fantastic game in 30 days. Just like something that I can at least show to someone and maybe not get funding to finish the rest of the game, have a team help me or whatever. That's my goal by the end of the 30 days, to be able to be able to have something to show someone and show you guys. And so I got my little list. Best way I can explain it is a Titanfall like game, but more stuff. So more quirky stuff. So uh, by the end of the 30 days, I want functioning movement. So being able to run left and right, look around, etc. I want to include wall running. I think wall running is a really cool concept that when I first had wall running, I think it was Black Ops 3. I think that's when they introduced wall running in Black Ops, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I still think it's really cool. And Apex Legends has the wall running in that extra game mode that they've got. But yeah, I think wall running is a really cool concept in a game, and it spices the game up a bit. Uh, cool ways to make trick shots and stuff. So yeah, function movement. I also want a way to sprint. Sprinting is kind of simple to make, but to make it smooth and fluid, that's the bit more harder part. I want three vehicles, so I want one flying vehicle and two ground vehicles. So um, if you've played Halo, the Banshee, I'm thinking that kind of like slow-ish movement is pretty good. That's the kind of speed I'm thinking of going for. We'll end up seeing, or a helicopter type thing would be cool. And yeah, and then vehicles as in like um, Warthog or a Trident if you play Apex Legends, something like that. Something like that. Where you can move around, but it's not crazy fast. Um, I want one type of each gun by the end of the 30 days. So like a pistol, an AR, a submachine gun, a rocket launcher, etc. Any kind of play style that you like to play, I basically want to have it by the end of the 30 days. So then you can kind of get a feel of like how I'm going with the game. And I want to also have a proper shooting system in that. So if it's a shotgun, it's going to have multiple different bullets hit you in whatever. But yeah. And then I want six different playable characters with each of their own abilities. Now, when I say characters, it's also going to be like a suit. So, like, kind of in Halo, you have the suits and stuff. Halo Reach is probably a good example where you can have a jetpack and all that other stuff. Is a good way to explain it. So it's not changing your character per se, but you've got like an addition. So you would have a backpack for the jetpack, and then if you, for example, wanted to have a grappling hook, you'd have a grappling hook on the arm, etc. That's what I'm going with. uh, and then I want three different pieces of armor, and you earn each type of armor, and then I'll have maybe down the line some armors that you pay for, etc. Because I'm hoping to make this be able to be a free to play game, if not a low cost game, depending on the servers, like how much it costs to get servers. But yeah, so I want to have like three different helmets, three different shoulder pads, etc. The way I'm going to go about this is actually kind of like Halo Reach, how they have the multiple different things, so you can change each different variant of it. So that's what I wanted to go with. So it's kind of the idea that I'm going to go for. I want three different maps to play. So um, just probably basic maps. I don't know if they're going to have the most assets done on them, but I'm going to try and have an asset so it looks colorful and nice and whatever else. it honestly could end up just being like gray and red by the end of it. But I'm gonna try and make a map as best I can. So I also want very basic assets. So like the guns that I said, I want to actually have proper assets for them. So I've never used Blender in my life. And I'm going to start using Blender today. I think that's going to be the biggest curve of learning and being able to create an actual character with Blender. So yeah, I want to have a multiplayer server that I can play with my close friends with. I've never set up a server, so that is also going to throw a spanner in the works, as they say. For that, I want to have animations for loading in, like jumping out of the ship or a drop pod or something. If I'm thinking of the drop pod, I'm thinking you're dropping down and you've got the glass visor, you're overseeing the map a bit, you're seeing the others on the team dropping down, you're seeing the map and whatever else. I think that would be quite cool for me. So yeah, that's what I'm wanting to have. And then lastly, I want to have bots set up that run around and fight. So for example, one player versus 9 bots, or one player, 4 bots on the team, and then you're versing 5 bots. Because I want to, my goal isn't to have this as a finished product by the end of 30 days. It's just to be able to take it to someone and show them like what it's going to look like and stuff. So yeah, I'm going to try and work on this 4 hours a day, and I'm going to document my journey from day 1 to day 30, and hopefully by the end of day 30 I've achieved this list. I don't actually know if I'm going to be able to achieve this list necessarily because of the whole learning Blender thing, but we're going to find out soon enough. So the rest of the video will be me showing off the code that I've done and what I've done for day 1. So let's get into that. All right, so I've been here for about an hour, 2 hours. I haven't been counting. I should have set a timer. I'm going to set a timer next time. I'll be able to like show how much I've done and how long I've been working on this for. So this is a bit of progress that I've got right now. So I've got a player here, which is a character body 3D. I've named it player, so it's easy to understand, right? I've got a little player running symbol. And in this, I've got child nodes is what they're called. And then I've got a child of a child. So I've got the head, which is going to be the camera and the weapon holder, and probably some other stuff later on. But this is mainly for the holding the camera part. As you can see, the camera 3D, etc. If I click camera, you can kind of see what the camera sees in the top right there. And then I've got a collision shape, which is just this light blue outline on the it's a capsule is what they call it. As you can see, capsule shape. So I can disable the color. Sorry, I can disable the collision shape and whatever else. The debug color is the light blue, etc. And now I've got some wall rays. So a wall ray is basically just 2 like prongs, I guess. If I was to have like a metal rod going each side, basically as soon as the metal rod touches a wall or something, I will instantly be on, like, it's testing to see if I'm colliding with a wall or not. Essentially, this is the best way to explain it. And I'll go into the code a little bit later. But this is a little test world that I've done. So simple, just test level. Giant box area. Got the world environment. I got the light. So if I come out, you can see the light here. I've got it angled down, so it's looking like, so there's light and stuff. You can't see the light necessarily. It's just to show that the world is bright. I can fix it up later, but this is just a test world as an example. I've got the floor, which is this white box here. I've instanced my player. So basically what I did was I dragged my player scene and I put it in here. So player is in this world, if that makes sense. And then I've got a wall. I've got a wall here for wall running and testing and stuff like that. I should have, when I started doing this wall, made the constants a bit different, but it doesn't matter because this is just a test world to make sure that it runs properly. So I'll go into this world and you can see the little camera. I can move around and stuff. I haven't made the screen proper to size yet or anything, but as you can see, I can sprint and stuff like that. And then when I go for a wall run, the camera tilts and I sit on the wall. I like run on the wall and stuff. So I can make the speed move faster. I can make the character move faster if I want to or not. How I first had it, I literally pressed the W key and I like zoomed off the edge. It was actually pretty funny. But yeah, so I just press F8 to end that. I need to add a thing where if I press escape, it's got like a settings menu and I can just quit the game. And that. So that might be what I add just for like ease of use side of things. But yeah. So now I'm going to go into the script side of things. And I've got about 120 lines of code. Not the most crazy amount ever, but yeah. So we're going to go over this. This looks like a lot if you're not a coder. I know a lot of my friends aren't coders, so I'm going to try and explain this as simple as I can. So the reason for this extends character body 3D is to basically say what this script is going to work on as a node. So this player is, if you can see in the top right corner, is a character body 3D. So now this part, this movement part is the constant. So it'll always, so the constant is like, how do I explain this? It's always going to be the speed of 5 for walking. The sprint speed is always going to be 8. And this is meters, usually. I could change this to be something different if I wanted to. That would just take more code. But I'm going to leave it as is for now. And probably leave it as is forever because it's a simple way to have it. So, yeah. So this is just simple movement. So I've got gravity, air control, wall jump velocity, etc. Anything that's basic movement is here. And then I've got the wall run constants. So the wall run gravity reduction is 0.5. And then the wall run duration, 2.5 seconds. And then the wall run minimum speed is 4. So yeah, that's the best way I can sort of explain it. Now the on-ready are the body parts, I guess, is the best way to explain it for this character. For this script, sorry. So I've got the variable on-ready variable head. So if I hover over this, it'll give an explanation, I think. Yeah. So this basically marks the following property as the node it is. So for example, the raycast 3D. If I click this wall ray, it's a raycast 3D. And it equals wall ray left. So because I've named it wall ray left here, I simply drag and drop this in and it will basically get put there. So that's how that is. So this is a non-ready variable. So whenever I change anything here, I've got to change the name here. So hopefully that makes sense. It's the best way that I can think to explain it. But yeah, then we got some variables. So is wall running? It'll always be false. Wall run timer is starting at 0, and we change the wall run timer throughout this code. And yeah, variable wall run normal, vector 0, etc. Now the func ready. So the ready function is as soon as the game loads up, this starts. So basically, this, when the game starts, it hides the mouse cursor and locks it to the screen, which is completely normal for a first-person shooter. You don't move your mouse around and stuff like that in the middle of a game. So then we've got the unhandled input, moving the camera with your mouse. So whenever you move your mouse, the code runs moving your mouse left or right, depending on how your mouse is moving. So this this is the head rotation. Yeah, and then we got the physics process. So this is like the heartbeat of the character. So every single frame of the game, it checks what's gravity doing. Is the player running? Is the player wall running? What movement buttons are being pressed? Then it calls the like move and slide, which actually moves the character in the game world based on all those calculations. So, and then we got the funk handle gravity. So this is how we handle the gravity. So basically, the character jumps. Its gravity is when it jumps, like is -1, so it's moving up, and then after a period of time, it will then go down. So, um, yeah. So if you're not standing on the ground and not wall running, the gravity will pull you down, like in real life. That's the best way to explain it. And then we got the handle movement. So this one's a bit bigger because there's a lot of if and else code. So like if wall running speed equals wall run speed, and so that doesn't sound, if you don't understand code, it's basically pulling the wall run minimum speed of 4 here. And then, so for example, wall run speed here in the top constant, as soon as I'm wall running, it will increase the speed to 10 meters per second, basically. That's what it sets the speed to. So get input direction. So if I move left, right, forward, move back, etc. The variation of direction. This is really, I can't really explain how in simple terms. This has just taken me a lot to understand after a year of coding, basically. I can understand this simply. So if is on floor, it grabs the velocity of x and z with the direction of x times speed. This little star is basically times. That's how you times things in code. And then you've got the slash for divide, and then you've got equals for equals, obviously. What other ones are there? There's plus and minus, all that stuff. So yeah. Yeah, the function of the wall jump. So is wall running equals false. It's always going to be set to false until I jump onto the wall. So if the collision of me running onto the wall, as you can see here, wall ray left is colliding, it will then start the wall run true. Wall run equals true will start the wall run code, basically. That's the best way to explain it. And then, as you can see, start wall run. So if not is on floor. So that's the description. So is on floor will be always there unless I jump. If I'm not jumping and not is wall running and velocity.y is less than 1, this is an if not, basically. So if I'm not wall running, don't wall run. If on wall left and is moving fast enough, start wall run, as you can see. So how do I put this? As soon as I jump on the wall run code starts, like I said before. So this is to maintain or stop a wall run. So if is wall running, wall run timer minus equals delta. So this will always, this will have the countdown start. So I've got a wall run duration of 2.5, and then this will minus the time based on seconds. So it reduces the time by 1 second. So as soon as the 2.5 seconds is up, I stop wall running. So that's the best way to say it, explain it, I guess. And then we got another function down here. So is wall running equals true, wall run side equals side, wall run normal equals normal, wall run timer, wall duration. I got the velocity. So this is basically how I get a small boost upward on the wall run start, as you can see from the comment. And then I got the function to stop wall running. So is wall running equals false. It resets it back to false because I am no longer wall running. And then func is moving fast enough into a boolean. Return vector velocity x with velocity z, and length is the greater than or equals to wall run minimum speed. And then the func handle camera tilt. So basically, depending on the side that I jump onto, will tilt to the wall. I actually had this set to -8. So when I was jumping on the right, my camera would turn right, basically, which I didn't really want that because I wanted it to be the opposite side. So I had to change this from a -8 to a 15. And the reason for a 15 is because it made it more noticeable that you were wall running. When I was testing it, I was like, I can't actually tell if I'm wall running or not. So then I upped it and I could really tell on 15, as you can see. So if I go back to the test level and I just run, you can see the camera tilt. I run, you can see the camera tilt, etc. So yeah, that's what I've done so far. Next, a lot of stuff that I'm going to do today is learning Blender. I've got some videos on what I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch this guy, Blender Guru. He's who my friend's brother recommended me to watch and learn. So I'm going to learn how to make a donut in Blender to learn how to go and do other things. So yes, that's the end of today's video for day one. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I didn't confuse anyone or be terrible at explaining things. I don't know how to explain how I was beginning to learn. I kind of just brute forced it and got really confused at the start, and then now I understand it basically. So I'm going to keep on trying to explain the best way I can to help people who aren't into coding understand code, but someone who's into coding will understand what I'm trying to do and explain. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Have a fantastic day and afternoon.